Russ from the showroom here at Swiss Watch Expo, and I am here talking about skeleton dials or open worked watches. One of the coolest things you can get on a classic Swiss watch, and really one of the great features that make these what they are. Most people don't know open working or skeleton dials have been a thing in watchmaking since the 18th century, almost as long as these watches have been made in this form. But they didn't really start to catch on until after the quartz crisis in the late 70s and 80s, when these Swiss brands really wanted to drive home what makes them so special. And that is the mechanical complications that are hidden inside this case. And so the goal of a skeleton dial is to put that on display and to really let you know what it is that you're getting and what makes these watches so unique. In that line, there are definitely two different schools of thought when it comes to open work dials, and I have two examples here to kind of show you the two different directions that these brands can go. I have one here. This is a Tag Heuer Calibre 1 Carrera. This here with a beautiful open work dial. This is an example of a more modern contemporary direction you can go in. Something that really sort of showcases the technology and the future of watchmaking in this form. Of course, the Carrera being a chronograph, which is part of Tag Heuer's rich tradition of race car driving. And this really does give you the feeling of looking underneath the hood of a really high-powered sports car, and not something classic either. I'm talking something that is fine-tuned and meant to win races here in 2020. This here is a mint condition 2019 piece. And the beautiful thing about open working is, while it does really display the beauty of the mechanics inside this watch, it's not exactly the easiest thing to read, especially when you consider the chronograph. But the beautiful thing is, that's not why you buy these. This is for someone who has a watch collection, who really wants to show off why they love watches. And I certainly wouldn't recommend this being your first fine timepiece, but once you really get that itch and you really love what makes these watches what they are, this is a great example. That while it's not the easiest to read, the chronograph is legible by these red accents, which do really stand out between all of the gears that you can really get lost in when you look at this dial. And the date wheel, of course, being a brighter silver color, does make it surprisingly legible for everything it is. This is a 43mm case size, which is definitely a very modern size and shape. And of course, as you can tell, this is a all ceramic case and bracelet. So it's incredibly durable, incredibly sporty, and just really fascinating to look in. And of course, what would a skeleton or an open work watch be without an exhibition case back so you can see all this beauty from the other side? The other option we have here, and this is a very different, more classic traditional type of take on the open work dial, is this Breguet Traditional. And this here is some of the more prestigious brands, some of the more classic brands, which Breguet definitely is among them, to show off the more classic horology aspects of it. So you can see this has a beautiful, all of the gears and all of the wheels are displayed here, and something that makes this well and truly unique is you can actually tell time by a much smaller register up here at 12 o'clock. So while it is greatly scaled down, you do get a very legible dial, and it sort of separates between the actual time telling and the time keeping aspects of this dial. And of course, just like this Breguet, has a mechanical hand wound movement, so no rotor or anything to sort of obscure the beauty that's within the back of this case. As you can see, this beautiful plating and all of these wheels here that really shows you everything you need to know about what makes Breguet such a beautiful brand and such a classic and historically rich watch here. These are both two fascinating options that you can go if you really want to show off what makes the watch's power and what makes these Swiss watches so beautiful and still so popular, even with technology changing all around it. So you can go in two very different directions, especially if you're looking to collect open face watches, and I would definitely recommend checking either of these pieces out at SwissWatchExpo.com.